Hemophilus done. The next one that we go on. Remember we were doing HBB organisms. Hemophilus is done. Now let's go on to Bordetella. Bordetella has nothing very special. No motility, no sporing. But Bordetella ki body hai. Bordetella has a body. Body means it has a capsule. Right? It has a capsule. It has a body. And body is never gonna come in one day. You will have to work for many months. It's a 100-day cough known as whooping cough, and pertussis is the same thing. So remember, Bordetella ki body hai. That is, it has a capsule that has come after many days of hard work and panting out of breath by running and gymming. So whooping cough, 100-day cough with a capsule. That is the story of body wala Bordetella for you guys. So first I'm going to tell you the question which no one likes, virulence factors, right? So virulence factors mein I'm going to tell you, if you can learn it, very good. Even if you can't, learn some basic words, because right now no one's going to ask you the virulence factors, but I will club all these virulence factors and I'm going to make a vaccine in the end. So we have agglutinogens. We have FHA, that is filamentous hemagglutinin, and we have pertactin. I'm going to tell you a vaccine in the end. Repeating, agglutinogens, which will help in attachment. Filamentous hemagglutinin, that is also helping in attachment, and that is exactly what I'm telling you I will use in the vaccine. And pertactin is also a virulence factor. Apart from that, of course, you can never ever omit the toxins. Come on guys, toxin to you know, Bordetella pertussis ka toxin, I have already told you. Pertussis toxin is said to be one toxin, but actually it is having a lot of factors. If you look at their names, we have LPF, HCF and IAP. So LPF, you don't have to know their full forms, but you need to know that one main word. So when we say lymphocytosis producing factor, you should be knowing that these are the organisms, or these are the infections which cause lymphocytosis for us. Second, they are histamine sensitizing factors. They are going to sensitize histamine. And thirdly, they are islet activating proteins. If their islet activation is going to be caused, that islet activation basically means that the patient is going to secrete a lot of insulin. Insulin means that the patient is going to enter into hypoglycemia. So repeating, pertussis toxin actually has many properties. It's going to cause lymphocytosis. It is going to release histamine. It is also going to activate islets and causing hypoglycemia. But what exactly is the pertussis toxin? I hope you remember pertussis toxin, like any other toxin, is A and B. That is not a problem. It is going to have a fragment A and it is going to have a fragment B. But do you remember it increases adenylate cyclase? Quick review, cyclic AMP वाले कौन से organisms थे guys? For cyclic AMP, I told you M को थोड़ा सा ऐसे split कर देना, just turn it around. So after you turn it around, it's gonna become an E like this. Earlier it was like this. I made it into this. That is E. So first and foremost, I told you cholera is gonna increase cyclic AMP. Anthrax is gonna increase cyclic AMP. E. coli ka labile toxin, labile in the air, and now we finish the P, that is pertussis. All of them increase the cyclic AMP. Then of course there are other things like heat labile toxin, the tracheal toxin, that is why whooping cough hai, so everything has to be with respiration. And there's a lipopolysaccharide. What are going to be the clinical features? Of course, you know that this is going to be a long phase. This is said to be a 100-day cough, and the incubation period is said to be somewhere between 1 to 2 weeks. So let me tell you what exactly is this cough. How does it come? So starting mein, everyone doesn't come up with whooping cough. Starting mein, it is just some very catarrhal features. So first catarrhal features mean there will be little bit of dry cough, little bit of fever, like little infections, little symptoms. But the patient is maximally infective at this point of time. So remember guys, there is gonna be little fever, little cough, but the patient is gonna have maximum infectivity. This is the time you have to stay away from the person, catarrhal. Now the next stage, paroxysmal, that is when the patient will have that whoop. What is that whoop? Whoop is something which you call as bouts of cough. He will suddenly intake a lot of air, gasping of a lot of air. That is whoop will happen. And so much of coughing will happen that there is also going to be post-tussive vomiting. There is also post-tussing vomiting, means he will cough so much that he will end up vomiting. That's a classical history you get for a Bordetella pertussis infection. And finally comes the convalescent, where the recovery, so the patient is going to go into less severity. So repeating, initially is all starting stages, but patient is very infective here. Then comes paroxysmal, that is the real cough, and then comes convalescent. Some people also describe this as the bark of a dog kind of a cough. Now let's come to the clinical features. What are the complications that will arise? So much the person is coughing. Imagine coughing means so much pressure on the hemorrhage, on the brain, so on the eyes. So can I say because of this there can be subconjunctival hemorrhage because with so much of pressure he is coughing. So number one, pressure problems. Second, as I told you, there are going to be respiratory problems because it's affecting the lungs. So lung collapse can occur. And finally, this can also affect the brain, and that is known as the convulsions and coma. So these are the different ones, but pressure effects is what they will ask you. How do you think you're going to do the diagnosis? First, you'll have to take a sample. The only thing is patient is coughing. So either you can take something from the oral cavity, or you can take something from the nasopharynx, or you can make him cough onto something so that the droplets are secreted. So basically, you can either take, the best one is a nasopharyngeal swab like you were doing for COVID. But other than that, you can take one from the anterior part, that is per nasal. You can also take from per oral. And if you can't take any of these samples, just keep a plate. For example, you keep a plate like this in front of the patient. You know, the agar plate is kept like this, and you tell him please cough onto this. So all the secretions will go and deposit, and there will be growth that will be seen. Okay? So remember, that is known as the cuff plate method. So these are different methods, either from the nasopharynx or per nasal or per oral, or tell him to cough and that growth will come over here, cuff plate method. Please note that we have to take a total of 6 swabs are taken total, all these places, and they are transported usually in the casamino acid solution. Also note that we don't use cotton swabs. Usually we use cotton swabs, but for Bordetella pertussis, we don't use cotton swabs. Dacron is one preferred element, and calcium alginate can also be used, but cotton nahi use karna. That is what is important. Cotton ke saath the growth is not gonna come. So whatever method you took, the swab or the cuff plate, what plate are you talking about? So simple. When I'm talking about the Bordetella, the culture is gonna be Bordet Gengu. Other than that, there is Regan Loei, there is chocolate agar also, but Bordet Gengu for Bordetella is sounding like the most logical thing to learn for me. And I can see that there are some dome-shaped colonies called mercury drop appearance. Mercury drop, or you can call them bisected pearls. So Bordetella pertussis shows you bisected pearls. बहुत simple है. Write it with me. When you write Bordetella pertussis, firstly you should know from this name इसका body है. Body मतलब इसका capsule है, right? Then you should know that body बनाने के लिए you need time. This is gonna take 100 days. This is 100-day cuff. Next, you should be knowing from the word Bordetella, the name of the culture is Bordet Gengu culture media. And from the word Bordetella pertussis, you are gonna get bisected pearls. That is what you get, bisected pearls appearance. Maximally in bacteriology, I have tried that your mnemonic should come from the name itself. Okay, so bisected pearls is Bordetella pertussis, Bordet Gengu medium. Have you imprinted this into your brain? Thumbprint bana lo, Bordetella pertussis, because you have to make a thumbprint. You see these? ऐसा thumbprint kind of architecture. So that's the next thing that you see out here. So please remember, Bordetella pertussis shows you bisected pearls appearance, and it is also going to show you finally the printing. It is also going to show you the thumbprint appearance. In fact, if you tell me that over a few weeks, because 100 days chala na, so ma'am, can you tell me over a few weeks, how is the diagnostic modality going to change? So remember, all this Bordet Gengu medium and all is the best, I agree, the culture medium and all, but it's only in the starting part. It is only in the starting part. Can it also come many months later? Yes, it can. And in fact, please note, starting mein to it's looking like these bisected pearls, they are alag. If you allow them to grow a little more, you know what they'll look? They'll all become confluent. And if they will become confluent, they will result in an aluminium paint appearance. They will result in an aluminium paint appearance. So remember, culture is very important in the first 2 to 3 weeks. PCR is also good, but in the later stages, PCR is somewhere gonna fade away, and serology is also there after that, but serology also in the later cases, the antibody levels can go down. So the culture, PCR and serology is what is gonna help you. So what is the treatment and the precaution? The treatment mein drug of choice is azithromycin. Please remember, even the close contacts are treated like patients. Consider the close contacts also like patients, and you have to give them, irrespective of whether they are vaccinated or not vaccinated, you have to give them macrolides. You have to give them macrolides, whether they are vaccinated or unvaccinated, irrespective of that, they're treated like patients. Now, tell me which vaccine do we have? So, pehle, remember we used to use DPT. So, the pertussis vaccine, diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus. So, the pertussis vaccine that we were using was a whole cell vaccine. Problem with whole cell came was patients started having encephalopathy. So, they said कि नहीं, whole cell तो नहीं, cell component हटाओ, remove the cell. I need something known as an acellular vaccine. So what is this acellular vaccine that you have to know? Please note, I told you some factors in the beginning and I said, Abhi, just go through them. You will have to learn them. Did I tell you there was filamentous hemagglutinin, then there were agglutinogens, there was pertactin, and there was pertussis toxin. Remember this? And I told you just learn it because these are the factors, but no cell. These are the factors that I've used. So I can say these are the 4 things that have made my vaccine. The agglutinogens, the filamentous hemagglutinin, the pertussis toxin, and the pertactin. These are the ones that have made my vaccine, and here they don't have a complication. So now you must have seen that instead of writing it as DPT, we write it as DTaP. What is AP? Acellular pertussis is used because now you don't use whole cell vaccine, you use the acellular vaccine, and that definitely wraps up our discussion of